How's it going, everybody? Jason here. Thanks for checking out the channel today. So I'm going to take a look at Bubble's new AI builder capabilities. So I did a video a while back. I guess it was just a short because their first implementation of the AI builder really didn't do anything. It just copy and pasted a template. So they have improved that with their new blueprint. When you prompt their AI builder, it creates a little blueprint, gives you some feedback before it goes and creates the app, and then you can do some enhancements before you actually get it to create it. But today, they released the ability to modify your app with AI. Now it's limited to elements. It won't do workflows right now. It will do some debugging and some other things. So let's take a look at the whole thing. So first I'm going to generate a learning management system app with their AI builder. When you start the AI builder, there is a prompt guide. So it will give you some tips for how to create effective prompts, things to avoid, stuff like that. And I've just got a simple prompt here for a learning management system that I want to create. Users can take courses, they can chat with other users, they can create notes, and it will generate AI summaries based on course attendee feedback. So let's just see what it creates. So once it finishes, it's going to give you some key features. So users can browse courses, they can enroll, note creation and management, course feedback collection, a user chat, summaries, and user profile management. So if you want, you can enhance your blueprint by adding a couple of things. I'm not going to do that for right now because this is kind of the basic stuff that I want my users to be able to do. And let's hit generate and see what it comes up with. All right, so the first thing I'll say that's different is the first iteration would just copy and paste an existing template so they all looked the same. This looks similar to a marketplace app, but it's interesting that it actually created repeating groups and it based it on a course thing, whereas previously it wouldn't do that, but it does have a couple of issues right out of the box. So what's next? Preview, check out the data, create or modify designs. So let's first take a look at what these errors are. Okay, global menu is not an option, which wasn't anything. Create new enrollment, current user, should probably just be current user. So that's one problem. If I took a look at the data things, the enrollment has a user profile record, which it should not have that. That should be the actual user. So I'm going to change that and make it an actual user field and make the user type user. Now I can go back and fix that problem. Bum, bum, bum. Get rid of that. So that's fixed. Now what I would probably do is just delete this field and hope for the best. But if you didn't know about this feature, you can actually search and see what parts of your app are using a certain field. So I want to see if this user field in the enrollment table is being used anywhere else, and it's being used for a whole bunch of things. So I'm probably going to have to update those, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let's just preview the app and see how it works. So this is just using the stock standard Bubble login and registration ones. So these aren't clickable, so I'm assuming there's no details page. I don't know why my profile is here. So there's a lot of things to fix, but it did a lot of the heavy lifting. So what I want to do first is I want to modify some of the things that it built. So let's see how good it is at doing this. So I've previewed it, I've looked at the data. Now let's create and modify some things. I'm going to go into the visual builder here. And let's see if it can do this. Remove the My Profile section from the index page. Okay, so it says it was going to do it. And let me just check this section. So this is group profile section. Group profile section. It's going to set to not visible. So approve it. All right, that's interesting. So it did get rid of it, which is nice. If I go back and reload the page, that is gone. So the next thing that I want to try with this is, because it created this data thing and it's using the user profile field in the enrollment table, I'm going to see if it can actually do that and update all of the other references. Can you update all references that use the user Now, according to the email they sent, it doesn't do data things, but I think it does. So let's see if it can actually make this change. So there were 8 things that it would need to update based on that search that I previously did. So let's see if it can actually fix that. All right, so no, it can't do that, but it wants me to update all the references myself. That's fine, because that would be pretty easy to do anyway. So let's try something else. So if you ask the AI editor what it can do for you, it will tell you what it can do. So it can do design, styles, workflow, some data, sample data, bulk changes, etc., but it can't modify these things. So it can't change plans or account information, file exports, etc. And then there's some links to references here. So the first thing that I want to do is to create a course details page, because on the home page here, none of these are clickable, so you can't filter by category, you can't view the details right now. And if I go to the courses page it created, it's got the courses listed here, and the details, it pops something up down here at the bottom. This should probably be in a pop-up, or it should probably go to a course details page. So I'm going to close this for now. I want to have a dedicated course details. Or actually, let's see if I can put that in a pop-up. So I'm going to go to the courses page here. So here's the collection of courses. And it has this in a pop-up, but it didn't put it in a pop-up. So I'm going to say, can you update the course details pop-up to be inside an actual pop-up element? Okay, so it's going to affect 5 elements. It's not telling me what elements it's going to affect, but it did give me a little strategy here. So I assume it's going to hide this here, and it's just going to take the inner one container here, create a pop-up, and put it in there. So I don't know what the other 5 elements are. I'm assuming it's going to update or maybe it's thinking the close button is an element it's going to do something with, but let's just approve it and see what happens. Changes approved and applied. So let's see if it works. So it's still opening it down here. It did not update the app, but it did add a course details pop-up. So now I'm going to say, can you update all the buttons on this page? Now this I probably wouldn't use AI for, because it's just a repeating group, so I'd only have to update one button, but I want to see if it will actually do this. I can see the last update also created 6 issues. So this is interesting. It can't create or edit workflows, but up here where I asked it what it can do, it said it can create or edit page workflows. So, okay, so it didn't do anything there. I would probably just do this myself then. So I will take this view details. And it created another issue, so I'm going to guess the pop-up that it created is probably not set to a course, which is fine, so that gets rid of that issue. So now, let's see what that pop-up looks like. So sort of, but it didn't put a details record there, so that's no good. What I would most likely do is I would just copy and paste this container here. But let's just, for argument's sake, see if it can do this itself. Can you move the course details pop-up container element into the pop-up course details pop-up? I'm going to put these in quotes just so there's no confusion about what I'm asking it to do. Now, obviously, if I was doing this on a real app, I would just drag it in there, or I would do a copy special and copy all the workflow actions just to be safe and then paste it in there. I just want to see if it's actually going to be able to do this. So here we go. We're going to move that container into there under the group details wrapper and remove it from the current pop-up so there's no duplicate, and place it at the end of the wrapper's child to avoid disrupting the existing layout. All right, so let's see if it will actually do this. Approve. So it says it's been moved. I don't see it, so I'm guessing I'll just have to manually refresh the page. But the details are still there. And if I reload my public page, click view details, so there's nothing in there. It didn't actually do anything. So let's just do this though. Copy with workflows and paste with workflows. This thing is, whoops, don't want to get rid of that whole thing. I want you to be there, and I want to get rid of that. And then I want this pop-up to be, actually, let's see if it can do this. Can you make the pop-up course details so if I want that pop-up to be almost full screen. The other thing it didn't do that it did mention was it had a close button. So it added a button, but the button doesn't actually do anything. So let's see if it can make my pop-up a full screen one. So if I click in here, what I would expect is that, well, number one, it set it as fixed, which is not good. So let me just check the courses page. Nope, it is responsive. So it's just this is not, or the pop-up is not responsive. So let's see if it will actually switch the container layout style and adjust the size. So the pop-up course details now uses 95% of the page width. Let's see if that's true. No, it is not. It's still set to fixed. So I don't know what it did. Maybe it updated this one. Nope, even this one is fixed as well. I guess that's why they call it a beta. So at least it's got the description in there, which is nice. And then these are just minor things. So I would just set this to column, and I would set this to 95% and then set the height of the pop-up. So it did set the max width on that last one to the percentage. And then this, I will just, like, this is crazy. Min and max height of 1200. I don't know where that came from, but I do not want this to be fixed width. So this is interesting. It's sort of a details page that lets people enroll and see updates and provide feedback on a course they haven't even taken yet. So it's not really a proper course details page, so I'd have to fix that as well. But the last thing that I want to test is just the enrollment. So will this allow me to enroll? It's probably not wired to anything, I would imagine. So if I look at this pop-up, click on enroll in course. So this is one of those errors where I'm going to have to make this the user, current user. So that's not a big deal. At least it did most of the heavy lifting, but it didn't really do a good job of modifying things. So I'm going to try one last thing. I'm going to see if it will create a course details page. So it's going to create the course details page. It's going to add a layout, add placeholder text, and then share instructions to update the buttons. Okay, so I guess it's not going to update those. I'll all have to do that. It would be nice if it would list all of the elements that it's actually going to make changes to, but let's just give it a go. So the course details page has been created. Maybe I have to refresh. So it created the course details page inside of the existing course page, so it can't create a new page. All right. Oh, all right. So this is about the 10th time I've been recording the closing for this video because this was a 3-hour odyssey and frustration. And I wasn't exactly sure how to close this video other than to say that this AI agent implementation is a 100% fail, a complete swing and a miss. Oh, sorry, I should say 99% because it did actually hide the section. When I said, can you remove this section from a page, it just changed the visibility. It took it 60 seconds to do that. So I want to try to keep this as positive as possible. But this feature, it shouldn't even be in beta. They should just take it out and get a closed beta group to actually firm this thing up before they release it to the general public. So one of the problems, I think, is the AI implementation in the Bubble platform in general. There's really 3. The first one is the app builder that I showed, and that one's pretty good. So it does most of the bulk lifting for you. You give it a prompt, it gives you a blueprint, it gives you the opportunity to refine that, and then it creates your app quickly. So in 10 minutes, it did what it would probably take me 2 to 3 hours, I would say, in total, because it did create sample data. It created the pages that it needed to create. It created the repeating groups and mostly mapped those to the right data things. And some of the dumb things, you know, like you click on the login button and it just shows a random section on the page instead of a pop-up. Those would be pretty easy to fix, but still kind of annoying. So that's AI implementation 1. The second one is the old AI page builder. And so because this AI agent could not, for the life of it, create a new page, I thought, well, what the heck? I'm going to go here and go to page generator, but it's using their old AI builder, which isn't even AI. It just copy and pastes a template. And it created this with a different site name, different images. The only thing common really was the color, but none of this is useful, right? I'd have to get rid of all of this, or I'd have to, you know, maybe turn this into a reusable element, then slap a repeating group on there and all that kind of stuff. So that was pointless. And then the AI agent, which is the modify existing things. And the problem with this is, like I said, it failed at everything except for hiding that one group. It was very slow, and it didn't do what it said it could do. So in the marketing email, it says it couldn't modify workflows and data things, but when you actually ask the AI agent what it can do, it tells you it can do those things. And then when you try to do those things, it either kind of does part of it or it does none of it. So it's really just unpredictable results. So again, the AI app builder, the AI page builder, and now the AI agent really are 3 completely different implementations that behave drastically different. So I would say, yeah, it's definitely not ready for prime time. I'm going to try it again once they make updates to it. I can just imagine what the forums look like right now, because I literally got the email 3 hours ago and I'm like, I'm just going to log in and try this out. So I spent 3 hours on this video and now I think it's time to have a couple of pops. So hit like and subscribe, and if you're a big Bubble fan and you think I was being mean, leave me some mean comments down below. And I'm going to go off to Lovable and use their AI builder because it actually works. See you next time.